Hi, welcome to Charter Oak Fiberworks podcast. This is episode number 4. I am Claire. This is a podcast about spinning and knitting and just all things fiber that I can find here in New England where I live with my family. You can find me on Instagram as Clarissa Jo Knits or on Ravelry as Clarissa Jo. You can also subscribe to this YouTube channel and you won't miss anything if you just push the little subscribe button, and it will let you know when I have updated. Sorry, my mug is in the way of my notes so I can't see. This is my mug today. Look, isn't he cute? He's an octopus with a top hat and he looks pretty shocked. Like he's seen something scandalous. I've seen a lot of people who do podcasts have their tea ready, and I kind of thought I would be fine without mine, but I noticed after doing my last episode, which was an hour long, that I was very parched and dry, and we've had some really weird weather. We got dumped on with snow last Thursday, and I'll talk about that a little later, and then it's been really cold, and now it's, I say warming up, but it's still like 20 degrees outside. But I feel like it's warm. So I got my tea. It is a peach tea. I like fruit teas that are nice and sweet. Okay, my first whip is not my first whip, my first FO are the Rice Socks by Tin Can Knits. There's that little garter stitch panel. And again, this was made with 100 Ravens yarn, General Leia Organa Solo colorway in their DK base. Sorry, I've already worn them. And I bumped my needles down. I made a size bigger and I bumped my needles down to a size 2 on the cuff here and then a size 4 through the rest of the sock. They knit it pretty fast, but they didn't, when I worked on them, they knit it pretty fast. So I can't find the other sock because I lost it in my laundry pile already. So just believe me that I have 2 socks. Even though I'm only showing one, I do have 2 socks. Okay, my second FO is the Babble Hat by Donna Smith. Look how cute the sheep are. Okay, I made this out of the Let Lopi yarn that I picked up in Iceland. And yes, some of it is from the grocery store, some grocery store yarn. Here's what my floats look like inside. So it's super fast to knit up. I leave my hats open, so I just adjust the pattern and don't do the decreases. I leave my hats open because I wear my hair up most of the time and I need more of like a tube to cover my ear and part of my head here. So that's how I make all the hats for me. I do know how to close off hats. I do them for my kids. So there are the sheep, the Babble hat. So easy. It's very itchy, but it's been so cold that I don't mind. It's very, very warm. Yeah, it's very warm. So I don't mind. I can't wear it around my neck. So I've pulled it down a couple of times just to cool off or just to get it out from my head. But I can't wear it that way for very long, so it goes right back up on my head and I can wear it just around here. And it does get itchy, and since it's been dry, it has been itchy, but I can wear it. So that's a good thing because I feel like I'm kind of a pansy, a little bit weak sauce when it comes to wearing itchy yarns. I do like my soft yarns, so it's nice to have a more rustic yarn and be able to wear it. And I knit a pattern that I love, and I love the yarn because I got it from Iceland. So I think all of those combined makes it so that I'm good to wear it. All right, so my next one is kind of a tiny FO, but I'm going to share it because it is relevant to kind of what I've got going later on in the episode, if I get that far. So I learned how to do a Tunisian I don't know if that's right because I just learned from pictures, but Tunisian crochet, because I would like to make the TC vest. I think it's beautiful. So I would like to make that, so I decided I need to learn. So I was working yesterday at the library, and it was kind of a quiet afternoon for Crafternoon. So I picked up a thing of yarn, a bright colored thing of yarn, and they have this little hook hanging out in the library box. One of the hooks that you use to kind of fish your drop stitches out with and fix things, but it has this little thing on the end, and I've learned that's what you need to do this. So I crocheted this little swatch up. I have a couple of, I don't know what happened here. Obviously I didn't grab onto a stitch far enough here, and I've got a little, but this side's pretty even. So I did this up just to like learn really quick. I used the rest of a teeny tiny ball. And I am going to take it with me when I go to Vogue Knitting Live, and I'm just going to wrap it around a Subway bar and whip stitch it together and do a little yarn bombing while I'm on my commute into the city. It sounds so crazy. Just my ride into the city to go to Vogue Knitting Live on Saturday morning. So see, it'll be a cute little tube on there. So not really a finished object, but kind of. I'll make sure to take a picture of it once I put it on the Subway so that it will be a real finished object. Okay, my whips. One of them is the same one that I have had, feels like for a while. I took it on Thursday. My kids started ski lessons, and my daughter is doing skiing and my son is doing snowboarding. And they love it. They keep asking when we're going again, which is tomorrow. So I'll hopefully get some more knitting done, but it's so fun. They go out and they have a ski instructor, and it's this tiny little hill so they can go off by themselves. They have a bunch of friends, so they all go as a group and go skiing. And I get to sit in the lodge. It's not a very comfortable lodge. We're gonna call it rustic, charmingly rustic. It's rustic. It's a bunch of picnic tables shoved in there and really, really close together. And a just big black wood burning stove kind of in the middle of the lodge, and some big windows that you can open. So it's not very comfortable, but I don't mind because I still get to sit and knit. So I've made it from, I think the last time I showed you, I had just finished the cuff. I should move this out of the way of my mouth. I had just finished the cuff. And so I've started on the main body of the pattern, and right now I am where I need to separate the stitches for the thumb. So this is the back side, and this is the front, and they are coming along beautifully. Once again, I am using Patons Kroy worsted, classic worsted, not Patons Kroy, Patons classic worsted in Aran. And it's a worsted weight, but it's Aran. And then I'm using a hand spun purple merino that I made myself. So you guys want to see the floats? There they are hanging out in there. I hope my floats get prettier as I get better at color work. I love when they turn it inside out and it's just this beautiful like pattern on the back, and mine are not that way. They're still kind of squiggly and stuff, but they're getting there. They're getting there. My second one is a crazy last chance project that I started. I am not going to make it. There's not even a question. I'm just not. But I tried. So I am taking a class from Tin Can Knits at Vogue Knitting Live New York on Saturday, and I am taking a Strange Brew 2-part class with them. And I wanted to take in a finished sweater, but because I signed up so late and then I was having a hard time finding the yarn. I was trying to see if I could make it up to webs before I went so that I could start knitting and get the right weight. Because I didn't want to spend a lot of money on this sweater that could be, I could never wear it or whatever. I was trying to be economical in my decisions. So I went and I just ended up going to Michael's and I picked up the more classic worsted, which is kind of my favorite. Just grab it really fast, right from Michael's, big box store yarn. And I did a bunch of swatches so that I could make sure I have the right gauge, and I ended up going down, I think 2 or 3 needle sizes. I am now on 4s for the main body and 2s at the cuff here. So I have half a sleeve. You can see my increases there. I have half a sleeve. I'm not going to make it, and that's okay. I bought some other colors in the same classic worsted so that I could make a hat swatch, and I'll still learn a lot from them, and I'll just keep knitting on this so that I can have a sweater. It's one of my projects to work on this year is the sweater. I tried to see if my son would want a sweater, and he told me no. Oh, that was not right. Is that better? I'm really shiny over here today and a lot of glare. It's really bright out. But he didn't want one. He said that it would probably be too itchy and he wouldn't wear it. And I've made 2 sweaters for my daughter, and I was just given yarn to make a 3rd, and she got an Icelandic sweater because she'll wear them. She wears them. And so that's why she gets them. But I was like, I'm going to make a sweater for myself. I've never made a sweater for myself. This is the first time. So I'm working on a sweater for myself. And I like that it's got a lot of positive ease to it, which is what they suggest in the pattern. So it pretty quickly worked up to where I could fit it on my rounds, my 16-inch rounds here. So that's nice, and that makes it go faster, but I'm still not fast enough to finish it. The bag I'm keeping it in is this bag that a friend got me from Book Expo in New York a couple years ago. It's a little brown bag, and it's perfect. It has a zipper on the top, but I broke the zipper, so it doesn't zip anymore. So I need a new bag, but I'm going to show you my pins on it. I have these little enamel pins from Michael's as I was picking up my yarn. It's a little Volkswagen bus van and a llama. They were on sale in Michael's. They were in the clearance section as I walked by, and I was like, oh, those are really cute. I'm going to grab them. So those are my 2 whips those are my 2 whips this week. And they are not going to be done anytime soon. So I'll have to cast on something smaller for fun. I hope you can't hear that slurp on there. I totally slurped. Okay, my next thing I want to talk about is my box of socks. I have never done box of socks before, which is Volenvine or Kristen from Yarngasm podcast, her year-long knit-along, and where you make 12 pairs of socks. You make a pair of socks every month. I'm not sure I can do it. She has a bunch of rules about it has to be fingering weight and so many grams and all of that. So we'll see if I can make it. I have a bunch of socks queued for this year. I want to make the evergreen socks and the Fox Isle socks from Life is Cozy. They're on my list to do this year to kind of help push me through it. I've never done toe-up socks, so I want to try some toe-up socks and some Afterthought heels and the Fish Lips Kiss heel. I've always done just a heel flap gusset. So let me show you my box. So I picked up my box at Michael's also. I did a lot of shopping at Michael's this week. They're just close and fast and easy and open when I can get to them. They had a bunch of their boxes on sale. So this one was on sale. And it says Adventure Awaits, but it has this bear on it wearing a Colorworks sweater. And some constellations and pine cones. And so that is my box of socks. Ready to start. Inside of it, I have no socks, but I have sock yarn that I have been holding on to until now, because now that's the beginning of the year, I can start some socks. I don't have any socks on the needles right now, which is very weird, but it's because I put the sweater on and wanted to monogamously knit on that. And I haven't, because I started to do the Tunisian crochet. But now I've got to cast on, because I think that socks are what I'm going to need to do while I'm on the train for Vogue Knitting Live, because I think a sweater, we'll see how far I get on the sweater, because the sleeve would be okay. All right, let me show you what's in here. So the first one is 100 Ravens again. It is Yaksha, and it is a 70-20-10 merino yak nylon fingering weight superwash. And the colorway is called Birds of Prey. And 100 Ravens just has the most beautiful color combinations and the way they flow together. So that is a pair of socks. My next one, I picked this up at a yarn swap at our Knitflix. And it's not a color I particularly love, but it is Regia, and I have not knit with Regia before, and I would like to, because I've heard so many good things about it and I've seen it around. So I grabbed it when I saw it, because I'm like, I don't care what color it is, I'll just make it. So it's kind of this, it's not a bad color. I should make yellow heel toe cuffs. Look how pretty it would be with maybe a mustardy color. That would give it some pop and make it more interesting. I'm gonna do that. So it is 75% wool, 20% polyamide. I'm guessing that's like a nylon. And machine washable, non-felting, very hard wearing, retains its shape. That's what it says on the package. So I don't know what colorway it is. I don't know. So anyway, that's what I've got. Some Regia sock, and the label's seen some better days. All right, and then this is from Gail's Art. That I picked up at Rhinebeck. It's called Candy Heart. Oh, that's upside down. It's a sock blank. I have not used a sock blank, so I'm excited to see how this works, because I've heard of people like caking them up beforehand, and some people really like to pull and just make them. I'm gonna pull and see how it unravels and see how that is to do it. I've got this brown, which I found in my stash. It is from Cherry Tree Hill. It's called Bark, Super Sock Bark. It is 100% merino fingering weight. I hope it's super wash. Machine washable, so yes. So I've got this to go with it, which I think will match these little spots of brown. I'll turn it this way really nicely. So that's my plan with that. I think that will be my first pair, because I just want to do a vanilla sock with that. And I want to do Susan B. Anderson's My First Toe Up Socks class on Craftsy, and then see if I can knit them toe up, so I can just use as much of that yarn as possible as I can. So that's my box of socks I'm going to start on. I'm going to do it this year. I don't know if I actually will. I'm going to do it because I said I am. And I made 4 pairs of socks last year. 4 pairs of socks last year, starting in like July. So I think I can do it. I think I just need to make sure to always have socks on the needles and to work on them. I need to work on them. Okay, spinning, which has been a very busy 2 weeks for spinning. Okay. This is, I picked this up at Rhinebeck. It is Greenwood, sorry for the crinkle, Greenwood Fiberworks bundle. It's 100% heathered BFL. And I really like to work with BFL, so this was a really good find. So this is bad. This, the dyer contacted me. Well, she didn't contact me. I tagged her in a post on Instagram, and then she wrote a comment on it, and I had a question for her because I had just read in the Slow Knitting book about, I don't remember her name, a dyer that would dye and then would comb together or card together natural color sheep with her roving, colored roving to make it heathered. And so when the dyer put a little message on my thing, comment, I was like, oh, I'll ask them if they do that the same way. They don't do it the same way, but they do the original roving before they dye it, she said, is light and dark, and that's what makes the heathered look. So I thought that was, see the dark in there? Darks and the lights, how. So I just wanted to let you know that because I thought that was a beautiful way to get that. And I love natural color roving and yarn from the sheep because I don't want all of the sheep to be white. And I know that the more we need white sheep, or the more we think we need white sheep so that we can dye it, the more they start to breed those colors out. And I don't want those colors bred out. I want to be able to use natural browns and creams and blacks and grays in my stuff. So anyone who uses the natural colors, I just love that. And I try to pick up natural colored roving when I can. If I'm buying a breed specific batch of either just a fleece or roving and I can get it in a natural color, I would like to do that in my like breed study of different things. Here are the last 2 colors that I have not spun up yet. And they go with these 2 and this one, and the 4 of them together. I'm gonna take them out of the bag and really hold them together so you can actually see. They go together beautifully, and I want them to be the yoke of my white Strange Brew sweater. Once I, design it and knit it and all of that, I'm hoping these will be the colors. So, let's see if I can. Oh, and this light green. Okay, so there is a light green, a light brown, a dark brown, this like jade green maybe, like a jewel tone green, and then this blue. Okay, there they are all together. So the browns I've already spun up, and I spun them up into a very thin, very thin. I have fiber everywhere. And then I chain plied them to get a 3-ply so that I could get that thicker. It's still not quite as thick as the worsted, but I haven't washed it yet. Once I wash it, I think it will bloom open and be closer to the weight that is what I have already. I wanted to allow for that to open up because sometimes I don't account for it while I'm spinning, and I open it up and I get a bigger heavier weight than I expected. So I tried to allow that. These last two I haven't spun up. And then I've got about 60 yards in each of these. So I should have quite a bit. 60 yards, and then this is green. I just plied it up today, so I'm gonna let it just rest for 24 hours. And then it doesn't want to let me. I'll let it rest for 24 hours and then I'll pull it off the bobbin. So you're like how uneven my bobbin is. I knew that I would be, I need to go this way. I knew that I would be showing this on the podcast today on the bobbin. I knew that. And so I was trying really hard to make sure I evenly put it on. So I made sure I was very even all the way down, and then I was going to work all the way even back. But I love to listen to the Grocery Girls podcast. And I don't know why I didn't ever look into it or anything, but I didn't realize that they had like a podcast through Craftsy on their YouTube channel. So I found that, and I've just been like binge watching all of their episodes, and they just make me laugh, and they're funny. They have good things that they're teaching. I actually have to kind of watch a lot of that one. Sometimes I can just, when you're knitting or whatever, and you can just glance over and be like, oh, okay, it's that shawl or that pattern or those colors. And then you can just listen to them talk about it, which is probably what you're doing right now with me. And you can just listen to them talk about it. But they, on the Craftsy one, do a lot more demonstration and technique and different things like that. And so I was watching them teach some of the techniques in there. They were doing some sock stuff and talking about color work on socks and blocking and everything. And I was just distracted. And then all of a sudden my bobbin looked like this and I was done. It happens. So now I have this uneven bobbin to show you that looks like a pear. It's even like the same color as a pear. All right, that's my bobbin. Okay, so that's spinning. So on top of trying to make a sweater in time, I am trying to spin up the yarn for the sweater at the same time. This is why I'm not gonna make it. I'm crazy. And now I'm podcasting, which could have been an hour of time that I could have spent knitting. I should knit while I podcast. No, because I have to use my hands. And I have to do it now. My kids are on the iPads right now. They got their screen time taken away yesterday because they weren't listening when we had to leave. If you have kids, then you know that when you use screen time as a punishment, that it's not a punishment for them, it's more of a punishment for you than it is for them. So I worked out a deal with them today where they did a whole bunch of extra chores, and they were hard. Like I made my son clean the bathroom, which he deserved to do anyway because he's been like using his toothbrushes to like play drums in the bathroom, and there's like toothpaste crusted everywhere in there. So I made him clean the bathroom. He needed to do it. Anyway, so then they could have their screen time back so that I could have time to podcast, so that I could get everything done before I needed to go to work today. It's working. They did everything, and I told them if they whined that the deal was off and they couldn't earn it back. So I've got to keep this in my back pocket as like, it worked really well to get them to do what I wanted. They were terrible yesterday when we were trying to leave the library. I really should just talk at the end of my episode instead of straight in the middle, but I'm just going to drop this in right here. Sorry. Okay, the other part of my spinning. Sorry, that was a long tangent of stuff, but let's get back to spinning. So I have a fleece from my friend, and she gave me a fleece from one of her Santa Cruz sheep, and it's beautiful, but I finally cleaned it on Friday. So on Thursday, we had a ton of snow. We still went to ski lessons. That was crazy. And we came, that day was a snow day for everyone else who goes to public school. And we came home, and Friday ended up being a snow day too, which means our co-op got canceled. So once co-op was canceled, I was like, oh, I have a free day. I can start processing this fleece instead of knitting on my sweater. So I pulled it out and I laid it out on the sheet, and I'll put a photo in here. I laid it on the sheet and I started picking through it. The ends get kind of felted closed on the Santa Cruz sheep, and they are 2-year fleeces, so they're pretty dirty. They're significantly dirty. So I just pulled off a section and I kind of would open up the locks all the way down. Any big sticks or anything that would like stab me as I was going through it, I would pull out, and I just kind of opened up all of the locks. And that's the motion I use. Okay, so, and then I go wash them and everything like that. So I'm in the middle of washing and prepping the fleece and everything. And I kind of have been talking to a friend about coming over. Her mom and I work together and are friends, and she had nothing to do. She was out of school too, so she wanted to come hang out, or wanted me to go over there and have my kids hang out and stuff. She wanted to see us. So I was like, oh, I'm in the middle of this. We probably won't make it in today, but you can come over. And I totally didn't expect her to, because this is a teenager. And then I learned she had another friend who was coming over. And I was like, okay, like in my head, I just wrote it off in the back of my mind as not going to happen, which is fine because I was very busy. So I was in the middle, like up to my elbows in the sink, squishing things around and everything. And the doorbell rings. And I'm like, oh, come in. You know, I can't go get the door right then. And she walks in. And she walks in with her friend. And they both came in to hang out. And it was really cool. So I started with a pound of fleece that day. And normally, like, I was picking through it very slow. And it's kind of a slow process. It's what that book, Slow Knitting, is all about. Like, it's just about the process. It is not about the finished product at all. You just enjoy touching it and swirling it in the soapy water and all of those things. So I was not in a hurry to get this done. But we went through that whole fleece that day, like 3 or 4 hours. We went through the whole thing, cleaned it. I put it in my washing machine and just do a spin cycle just to get all the water out. I don't have a salad spinner. I have done it before that way in classes, but I just use my washing machine. And I laid it out in front of the heater and let it dry to get ready for the next day. We went through the whole pound. It was awesome to have them help. Oh, and then one of the teenagers' boyfriends showed up, and he helped too. So I had 3 teenagers in my living room going through a dirty fleece. And yeah, it was awesome. So I processed all the way through it, which doesn't happen very often in one sitting. I was trying to do small batch washes so that I could really get stuff out of it. And so here is what it looks like all cleaned. I've started doing live videos on Instagram, so that's kind of the best place to find out what I'm doing, because as I was washing this and working on it, I was live videoing along with the process so that people could see what exactly was going on. So if you want to know more about what's going on, Instagram is really the place to go. So here it is. Oh, look at how, you can't even see, you won't even be able to see, but look how fine that is. It is such a fine fleece. It has this spring to it. So my plan is to wash and process this whole thing and then spin it up super, super thin, 3-ply it, and then make socks. So look how it twists up so fine. All right, it's just so nice. So that was Friday. And on Saturday was Distaff Day, which I don't know a ton about Distaff Day. A distaff is, this is me gonna be like, I don't even know how to explain it. So a distaff is this like stick with a big ball on it that is kind of like a basket looking thing with holes in it. So all of your fluff goes into that, and then when you spin, you pull from that to spin. And that's what a distaff is. So Distaff Day is the day after holidays when women traditionally began working on fiber again after all of the hard work of the holidays, is what I read on one website. The other website said the break from work for the holidays. So I don't know what it is, but after the holidays, they would start traditionally working on, okay, that was terrible, start working with fiber again on Distaff Day. And they would gather together. The women would gather together in their spinning circles and work together again. So I went to that. I had some friends meet me there, and then there were people already there that I kind of knew. And I didn't spin very much. I just spun that light brown that I showed you earlier. So I combed it up. I combed it and then pulled it off into these little comb top, and their little nests all wrapped up in my thing here, but look how beautiful that is. It's so, look how springy. All right, so that is what I've been working on with that. And this is all I have done. This little bag of it. And I have this much to do. So I started, remember I said I started with a pound of it? I started with a pound of fleece. After I washed it, I was down to 10 ounces. I know I'm supposed to lose about half of it in the washing and processing, but that was a lot of dirt and other stuff. We don't want to talk about it. There's other stuff in it. So yeah, that was okay. Two more things, maybe 3. This is getting long again. I'm sorry. Stash stuff that I've added this week is just a lot of Patton's Classic Worsted. I have a plastic bag, which it was my goal not to use plastic bags this year, and it's bad that we're at the beginning of January and I've already used plastic bags. But they didn't fit. I didn't think that my sweater quantity of yarn would not fit in the giant bag that I brought. So that's why I have a bag, but I wanted to use it so it's still all in there. Okay, the first thing is those enamel pins that I showed. I showed the llama one, but there's a rainbow. The rainbow's gonna have to go on stuff. And then I found this really cool like adventure pin set. And this says choose adventure. It's my favorite. Be brave. I don't know about that one. But this bottom one says Wanderlust. I like them. And they were $2 for the thing. So I was like, oh, I'm gonna grab those. Very cool. And then I got Patton's Classic Worsted. This is the sweater. So I have a sweater quantity of that. And then I have this red that I love. I have a like greenish. I got a charcoaly color. And this brownish color. And All of these are for Vogue Knitting Live classes. The white and the colors are for the Tin Can Knits Strange Brew. Sorry, I've talked for an hour now and I can't think straight. The Strange Brew class. And then the brown, and then again with the same white, I'm going to use to take Susan B. Anderson's class to make the little hedgehog. Hedgie is the pattern. I'm so looking forward to that. I'm going to be on Instagram live, doing live videos of stuff as I go through the day. I'll post photos into my feed, adding to my story. I'll be doing all of that through the day as I participate in Vogue Knitting Live. So I'm super excited for that. You know you work with great people when you show up at work and your friends have left you a bag of yarn. So my daughter that I wasn't gonna make another sweater for, I now have a sweater quantity of pink worsted weight yarn for her. She loves to wear sweater dresses, actually. So my plan for is to kind of do a flax hack. I'm going to do just probably a cap sleeve on that sweater, and then use the rest of it to take it down and make her kind of a tunic length dress, sweater dress thing, I think. And then I might try to do leave it open here and add some buttons so she has a little button accent there. I don't know, I'm still hacking that, but I'm only hacking it in my mind because I have a whole list of other things to do. So thank you for hanging out with me today. I'm sorry it was another long episode. I think they'll probably be pretty long from now on. I've got a lot going on, a lot of things that I'm making and that I want to share with you. And yeah, thank you.